Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
Well, boy, are you going to be glad you're joining us for the second half of the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. We picked up a friend.
We did. One of our longest standing
he's our co-host
guests.
Back from the day.
Yeah, he's always here, and he's actually been through the first few shows that were incredibly painful almost 6 years ago.
And one of our great business partners, one of our confidants that we go to in our industry, one of the most knowledgeable people in real estate there is in this entire valley, one of the most experienced, and along with his company, it's been around for over 50 years. So this person has actually been doing real estate in one way, shape, or form since he was in diapers.
Absolutely.
It's Steve Corn, owner of Newhall Escrow.
Hey, guys.
Welcome aboard, buddy.
Thank you very much. Glad to have you.
Literally in diapers around
Gotta be had, I should say.
Yeah.
Whatever
It works out.
Yeah, I was in diapers, 1963, walking around the office.
Unbelievable.
I was
how
handling
many-
You
files.
wish you were walking in
Yeah, I
1963.
know. Well, I was born in 62, so I could be walking in a
Maybe.
year.
Yeah.
You know, what the heck? I was a super achiever then.
right?
Still are.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So how many cycles have you seen?
Oh, man, 10 years. So 53 years in business. So 5.5.
Yeah.
That's a
5.5
lot of cycles. Most
man.
people
Yeah.
only see 2 or 3.
We've
That's
seen
a
the
lot
two
of
bad
cycles.
ones, though.
Count the inches on my receding hairline, and that'll count the
How do
cycles.
you have hair left?
I don't know, man. That's crazy.
Again, we're here on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. You can actually see us live. You see Stevie all dressed up nice, and by going to donandgino.com, DONANDGINO.com.
I've got a nice fall tie on, too.
Just
in case.
looking at that,
Yeah.
That's my Tasmanian Devil fall look
There you go.
on
Wow.
a Saturday morning. What the heck?
Yeah.
Very nice, Steve. And Steve helps us a lot with a lot of our buyers and sellers a lot. In fact, when we do for sale by owners and people are like, how do I do this right? We always go to Steve. Steve always takes great care. Remember, you have a choice when you go to escrow. Everybody thinks you just have to do what you got to do. But we suggest you say, no, I've heard of the Steve Corn guy. It's Newhall Escrow. He's the man. And literally, he sees things before they happen. And we're going to talk about some of those today, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
So we just talked about that in the last segment, Steve, as we were talking about opportunities for buyers. And everything is a negotiation when it comes to real estate. Everything. I mean, down to whatever you want. I mean, if you want to change the front door lock, you can negotiate that. And escrow is one of those things people forget to negotiate because what's usual and customary is that the seller chooses those services. But you can always make a choice. And right now during the holiday season, that's one of those things I think the buyer has a little more opportunity to do.
Well, the other strategic thinking is what's most important to the transaction, and there's a few negotiable services. You know, the buyer already has Skyline in their camp, and the seller really doesn't have any issues with that because you guys are the best, right?
Thank you, Steve.
So
Checks in the mail.
now, what do you have to negotiate? Title insurance company, escrow company. Who does all the lifting? Escrow company. So who's
Right.
most important transaction? Escrow company. I'm not taking anything away from our title company friends, but in the big scheme of things, they do the least amount of work, and they have the least impact on our transaction.
No doubt.
Versus what you guys do and what I do. So
there's almost no verbal contact between a buyer and a seller and the title
there
company.
is none. I can tell you there's zero.
Yeah.
Okay, but a prudent buyer who's been down the block a few times or has not needs to understand that they need to have, in addition to the best lender in the business in their camp, a really good escrow company. It's going to be fair, unbiased, and experienced, and be able to handle the difficult situations.
Well, and also you're really good about seeing things before they happen so they don't become problems down the road.
Don't want to blow it up, man.
Yeah.
I got tired of getting hit by that train too many times during my career, so I have a sixth sense to sniff stuff out.
You do, all the time. And one of them, we might as well dive in right now since we're kind of teeing it up right now. Don't worry, we're going to go back to why it's a great time to sell, and Steve's a perfect person to help us with that, believe me. Why it's a great time to sell during the holidays and why you don't want to wait to buy and why rent's better. But Steve brought up something that's really important these days, really important when Steve's talking about why it's important to work with a great escrow company, a great lender, or a great title company, meaning a great team that looks out for your best interest. There's something that's rampant right now, and it's scarier than heck. Wire fraud?
Wire fraud, man. Let me tell you something right now. So I don't know, what kind of TV shows our listeners are used to looking at, but, I don't know about you, but I see a lot of like Blacklist and, all these different TV shows have this cyber fraud.
Blacklist is one of your favorites.
Yeah,
Come
it
on,
is.
I know it is.
I haven't started that yet. I'm still on Breaking Bad,
well,
guys.
they haven't
I
gotten
haven't got
cyber fraud
through
too big of a
that.
deal on Ray Donovan yet, but, but anyway, but it's rampant on Blacklist. But anyway, it's real, folks. Here's what's happening. The latest trend in real estate fraud is emails being sent by escrow companies to realtors, buyers and sellers, or back and forth, are being intercepted by some person somewhere who is infiltrating one of those systems. Currently, the trend is a real estate agent's Gmail email account, easiest to break into. And so what happens is escrow company sends email to realtor, says, new escrow, here's our wire transfer instructions for the buyer to send a deposit. Realtor then sends that email to the buyer, and that's where it gets intercepted. And the person that's intercepting it is changing the account numbers and some other things so that the money gets directed to a bank account that's not mine. And so therefore, buyer says, hey, I just sent you $40,000. I said, you did win. Oh, this morning you should have gotten it. Well, we haven't been notified yet. And we back into this hasn't happened, folks, but it has to other escrow companies. We have safeguards in place that will prohibit this. Okay, but we got in a situation last week where one of our clients claimed to have sent some money, and it turned out that the email went from the realtor to the buyer and from the buyer to their attorney to arrange for a wire transfer of proceeds to close to open escrow, and the interception took place between the buyer and the attorney, and the interceptor took and altered the bank name and account number, and the buyer sent a wire to that bank, and the bank fortunately rejected it because there was something wrong. They sensed there was something wrong. The other big rampant issue is sellers instructing escrow companies to send their proceeds at the close of escrow via wire transfer to a bank. Our practice will thwart the interception from happening.
And this is a big numbers at the end.
These are big numbers.
It's not even deposit. This could be your closing dollars.
These are big numbers. So what happens is, in our practice, we have the seller put their proceed disbursement instructions in writing. And if they happen to be in our office in person, we will validate and authenticate that instruction because we met them, we saw them, we were in their presence, we saw them fill out the form. One of our personnel will authenticate it and it's done. That's set in stone. Ain't going to change. What's been happening is we get these emails. So say from the likely seller saying, I've changed my mind. I want to have this money wired transferred to this account. Well, wait a minute. You already told us it was this account. And so unsuspecting escrow companies are following their principal's instructions, and they're sending money to a bogus account. Wow. And they're either going out of business or they replace that wire. Okay, so we don't play that game. Once we get it in writing from the seller, we don't change it. If they want to change it, they have to come in personally and change it. We don't do anything over the internet anymore when it comes to wire transfers, other than when we do send our wire transfer instructions, we keep a portion of the account number off the email transmission, forcing a telephone call to the office, at which time we make the party identify themselves by virtue of some information we have in our file about them that they would not, that a person trying to intercept this email would know.
You basically have triple track.
Yeah, we have to quadruple it. And then before we send the wire, if it's a seller proceeds, we call them. And one more time, just to verify it. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
You verify the account number.
And make them read it off to us because there has been telephone interceptions too. We've had phone calls incoming.
That's sad.
From people representing themselves as sellers trying to tell us to change their instructions, and we just won't do it. We won't do it via telephone. We won't do it via fax. We won't do it via email. You got to come in and physically do it.
So you sniff anything out, you're like, nope.
Yeah, done.
Now that's got to sound. I mean, that's got to sound a little bit, inconvenient, let's call it. But how inconvenient would it be if you lost $200,000 instead?
Well, I had. You know what's interesting, Gino? I had another escrow company owner who I've been kind of mentoring a bit out of Beverly Hills call me yesterday in a panic and asking me what my best practices were about the wire transfer stuff. And he was way behind. But the point is in Beverly Hills, the temperament of the client is like, you'll do what I want you to do. I want you to send my money to a different account. And he was smart to say, no, I'm not going to do it. It upset them, but in reality, he was protecting them.
Right.
So to your point.
All right, good stuff. Again, Steve Korn, owner of Newhall Escrow, been out here for 53 years now for a reason.
Yes, sir.
You guys are the guns, and you protect you out there, and it's imperative who you work with. And for your escrow company, you have a choice. You have a choice of who you work with, your lender. And getting sound advice will change your life, and these are resources you're going to have forever. Steve has helped us become a great resource, helped us create America's Professional Resource Group, because our goal is not just to do a loan, not to just handle an escrow, is to become your value trusted resource forever on anything you need. And like I said, we watch Steve always leading his clients down the right path, and that's what we want to do. Again, you can find out more at aprgi.com, America's Professional Resource Group, aprgi.com. All right, stick around. We've been teasing you. That's right. We're going to go over, and Steve's going to help us, perfect person to help us. Why is a great time to sell your home? A lot of you think I'm just going to sit back, enjoy the holidays, but you might be missing out on a valuable opportunity. Also, why it's not good to wait to purchase your next home or continue renting when we come back to the Don Gino Real Estate and Finance Show.